Alright you guys, let's go ahead and let's create our first project with pixel art in Photoshop. So the first project we're going to do is going to be a wooden crate, and it's going to look awesome. So first what we want to do is we want to add a new layer. Next, we want to make sure that we have our measurements set on pixels. Now the way you do that is by coming up here to the ruler at the very top of your document, and you're going to right click it. Now mine are already on pixels, but most likely yours are going to be on inches. So you want to switch that over to pixels. If your ruler isn't showing up here at the top, the way you bring it up is by coming to view and coming down to rules and just select that, and your ruler should come up. The first thing we want to do is we want to create a square that is 17 pixels by 17 pixels. Now you'll see in this little box next to my selection, it says the width and the height. So once it says 17 by 17, you can go ahead and let go. Now hold down Shift to create that perfect square, and there we have it right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and center this. Then I'm going to fill it with a brown. So I'm going to come to my color picker. I'm going to come down to the oranges, and our brown is going to be somewhere a little bit towards the saturated side, but in the middle. So right there should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a top to my crate. So this crate is not going to be a straight on view of a crate. It's going to be a little bit of a top down view. So you're going to see a tiny bit of the top of the crate. So I'm going to grab a new color, and what we're going to do is, because the top of our crate is going to be lighter because the light will be hitting it, we want to have it be a little bit warmer. So we're going to drag our color up a little bit more towards the yellow side of the spectrum, like so. And then we want to also make sure that we lighten the value, that way it looks like a highlight. So right there should be good. Now let's go ahead and paint that in. So we want to go 3 pixels high and then all the way across. The way you paint a straight line all the way across is by clicking, holding down Shift, and then clicking in the spot you want the line to end in, like so. So you can go ahead and paint that whole area in. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and reselect our original color, and we're going to paint in a little line across the top of here. Make sure that you leave 2 pixels empty on either side. Next, let's go ahead and select a darker version of this color. It doesn't have to be super darker, but just a little bit darker. About there should be good. And because this is going to be a shadow color, we want to come a little bit more towards the cool side, which will be the opposite of the yellow. So we're going to move down towards the red side. About there should be good. Now we're going to go ahead and paint in a square, like so. And we want to make sure that we leave 2 pixels from either side. Then go ahead and fill this in. Perfect. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to create those crisscross looking pieces of wood that go across crates. So I'm going to reselect this color here. Then using my brush tool, we're going to come down 1 pixel from this corner, and then we're going to come all the way across diagonally, and we're going to stay 1 pixel away from that corner, and we're going to paint a line across like so. Let's do the same on the other side of it, and then we can fill in that middle spot by doing the same, clicking there, holding down Shift and clicking there. Now let's do the same for the other side. Perfect. Next, what we want to do is we want to add a darker shadow, a cast shadow for this indented area on our crate. So we're going to reselect this darker shadow color, and we want to grab an even darker version of that. And when we come down to the darker colors, we want to make sure that we move towards the saturated side, because the darker something gets, the more saturated it becomes. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Then let's go ahead and let's add in some cast shadows. So anything on the underside of this indentation is going to get a cast shadow. So this is going to get a cast shadow. This is going to get a cast shadow. Same here. And then under here and under here. Next, we need to find what the color is in between our dark shadow color and our lighter shadow color. The way we're going to do that is by putting our pencil opacity down to 50%. And you do this by hitting the number 5 on your keyboard, and now we can go ahead and paint in, and you'll see that it's a lot lighter. That's because it's only at a 50% opacity. Now let's go ahead and use our color picker to select that color. Then we can go ahead and undo that. Then come back to our pencil tool and make sure you hit the number 0 on your keyboard to bring it back up to 100% opacity. And then we're going to go ahead and paint in these areas like so. So anywhere that doesn't have a drop shadow is still going to get a little bit of a shadow. Perfect. Now, I think our cast shadows are looking a little bit too light, so I'm going to go ahead and reselect that color. Then I'm going to darken it just a little bit more. About there should be good, and I'm even going to bring it down all the way to the reds. So I'll hit OK. And then using my paint bucket tool, I'm going to fill in that color. And when I click here, it's going to fill in everything that's that same color. So that's kind of nice. Next, we're going to add in some highlights. So anywhere where the light would be hitting the top of these planks of wood, we're going to add a highlight. And the highlight color is going to be this same color up here. So we're going to go ahead and start painting that in 1 pixel at a time. Just like so. Perfect. Now, lastly, I want to add in a little touch. So I'm going to add in some nails to each corner of our crate. This is just a little detail to make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to come down to the dark gray area, and I still want to be a little bit in the saturated area because I want to pick up a little bit of blue in there. So we'll hit OK. Then in every corner, I'm just going to add my nail. Great. That brings us to the end of this lecture. This is pretty cool. You just created your first piece of pixel artwork in Photoshop. I hope you're pretty excited. Now, in the next lectures, we're going to take this crate even further and make it look even better. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.